to order, 10 o'clock. Stand for the pledge, please. Our
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Pam, would you like to?
Princess Kai will come to you today to ask if you reside with us up through our meeting. Give us your knowledge, your wisdom, help us to do what is best for our seniors in our community. Watch over our staff, we look down and say do good duties every day. And we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Director Roland Lynch. Here. Director Pam McKinnon.
Here.
President Bill Potter.
Here.
Vice President Laura Schlicker.
Here.
Secretary Robert Turk, President. Director Mike Stepanowski. President. And Member at Large Commissioner Carolyn Brown.
Here.
Okay, you have the agenda in front of you. I need an approval of the agenda. If there's no corrections.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Dolores, seconded by Pam to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. You have the minutes in front of you of our last meeting.
We have a little typographical or mistake. Under the NEMSCA one, it says AACOA instead of ACCOA, the first page.
Yep, on the bottom of that, it says AA.
I see that. That's a good catch, Dolores. That will be fixed.
That's all right.
I make a motion to approve the minutes with the adjustments made for the typo.
I'll second.
Motion by Pam, seconded by Dolores to accept the minutes last month's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public comment. We have 2 minutes. Please give your name and township. We have nobody. Okay, we have Lisa in the crowd, but shaking her head no, so we're good. We'll move on to presentations. Andy. Where's yours?
Thank you. So let's start off with the residential senior housing. We've finished all of our drywall in all of the garages. We have concrete in every garage, and every garage is painted, primed and painted. So we're ready to put our garage doors in. That was actually gonna happen today, but Miller Pipeline showed up and they're putting our underground natural gas in. So that's going on right now, which is great. So by the end of the week, they'll have the meters set, and then we can get the furnaces going and start the generators. And so that's a real big threshold. We got, so right now, of course, the electrical's in, then we've got our septic permits. So shortly, once the gas guys pull off the site, there's an army of them there right now. Then we'll start putting our septic tanks in and our septic fields. And then once that's all done, then the last thing will be the water. And that'll probably be towards the end of August. So on the outside, we only have one more house to side. We've got all the house number one, the siding's done, we've got to do some touch up on the trim and what have you, but that's coming along. We have gutters on about a third of the houses right now. The gutter guy actually showed up today, but I had to send him home because there was just too much going on back there with the Miller Pipeline people. So that's the outside coming right along. Of course, once that's all done, then we'll landscape, and that'll kind of be the finishing touch back there. From electrical, the plugs, switches, fans, lights, exterior lights, pretty much all in. He's just, there's a couple electricians out today, just finishing a few fans and things like that. On the plumbing side, we haven't done much. When the plumber, after we put in the kitchen sink and the actual sink in the bathroom, then he'll be able to come in and kind of do what is finished. So that's not much going on plumbing wise. HVAC, as soon as the gas is hooked up, they'll actually get the furnaces going. So that'll probably be next week. And then on the inside, we've got all the doors in. About 98% of all the painting is done, the trim paint, the second coat on the wall, second coat on the trim. Most of our doorknobs are in, and we've got mirrors coming in today. And we're kind of just in that final finish mode. Our cabinets are gonna ship the rest of our kitchen cabinets are gonna ship this Friday. So sometime next week, we'll have the rest of the kitchens in, and we'll put those in, do our final trim, and then bring the appliances in. So the senior houses are coming right along, and we'll slide in towards the end of August and just see how the water goes. So going out front, the FD guys are still working on the perimeter of the courts area building and putting up the various panels and what have you, but still way too much activity to bring the well guy in. And so that's always that'll be the first thing. As soon as they wrap things up, we'll bring the well guy right behind and put our 2 wells in, which then brings me to fire suppression. So we're in our final bids, we've got Winiger out of Frankenmuth, Bay Fire out of Pincon, and Summit out of Saginaw. And they're all working in their final bids, but almost more importantly, it's like their final combination of tanks, pumps, and how it's all gonna work. So it's not just, who's gonna put the heads in, but it's kind of what package is the smartest and most, the best package. So all those are due this Friday, and we'll make that selection. And then some of them are thinking we will need a 3rd well, and one guy is thinking we won't. So we'll kind of assess that as we get it. I talked to John Jackowski, who will be the inspector, that will both approve the plans and inspect the stuff. And so he understands kind of what we're juggling right now. The tanks will be, we buried them outside. There's a lot of issues that came with that. And so they're not that big. It's just a freestanding tank. And in our storage area in the gym, they have a bladder that goes around it. So if there was ever a leak, we discharge immediately outside. And so it's looking like we'll use some of that storage area to put 1 or 2 of these tanks. And that just, there's a lot of other issues because you have to protect if, like, God forbid, a crane just happened to pull up and decide to park over that tank. It's a real problem. So anyhow, that's the fire suppression. Electrical, this Friday, we're meeting Casey Lee on site. We selected Sunrise Electric, partnering with Brad Smith, 2 really good guys. What we're seeing across the board is our tradespeople are this medium-sized group where the principals are still working. And so with Colvin's for heating and cooling, Mr. Colvin, the nephew, the son-in-law, they're in their 60s to 40s, but they're all working. They're actually doing the installs. And it seems like they're able to beat that next tranche up there where they've got a lot of overhead and what have you. So that's kind of how that's been going, and our electricians are the same way. Really excellent people, though. Our electricians, they've got 30 to 40 years experience for each one of them, and we'll have a couple younger fellows, but we're gonna get a good job there. So we got the electric meeting this Friday. Gas, Miller may put in our gas to the main building today. They might at least get the line in, they might not set the meter. That's just one more thing kind of out of the way. Let's see, on the HVAC, we located, and with Phil's help, all of our rooftop units, so 16 RTUs up top, they're all lots to go over. You gotta make sure the exhaust is the right way, the orientations, how they sit on the decking, and Phil got a full, he's an expert now, so he was up there, a trooper for multiple hours in the heat, but that's all done. That's a big undertaking. And so the curves, the things that they actually sit on, will be coming this Friday. We'll probably get them up like next Tuesday. And then once we actually have the curve, can't cut a hole in the deck until the curve's there because you create a problem or a danger. So We'll have the curbs, and then we'll make our steel reinforcing around it, and then we'll be ready for the roofers. So we've got a high and low roof. If you look at it, there's one that's about 5 feet higher than the other. And that upper roof has less stuff on it. The lower roof's got all the kitchen gear and what have you. So we'll probably actually put the roof on the upper pretty darn soon. And then we'll jump to the lower as the kitchen guys are actually coming out this week to locate their various things. So that's what that is. Bucky's steel is all done except for the cut-in. So we on the garage door for the Meals and Wheels trucks, Clopay, who is providing the commercial door, wanted us to upgrade to a perimeter steel for the door instead of just doing that on metal frames. So we're actually gonna have a steel perimeter to the door and just make it last a lot longer and be more sturdy. So Bucky's, when they come back to do our openings, they'll do that. So so since the steel's done today, we're grouting underneath all the steel columns, and then we have our third special steel inspection from SME. That guy's probably getting there about right now. And then we'll have only one more. So once all the HVAC units are done, once the perimeter for the door is finished, and once the FED core is done with the pre-engineered metal building, we'll have one final steel inspection with the goal that his report is everything's okay. There's no things to fix. So that's coming along. And then on the outside, I've been holding off the septic field work because it's going to be a lot of trucks bringing in this called type 2NS sand we got to bring in, and just a lot more machinery. That's not the thing for right now. So that's going to come in probably about a month. And then that's on the outside. Then on the inside, we're just, as soon as we get our permit, we've got to make a few more adjustments to the plans, just kind of incorporating review comments and incorporating some of our value engineering elements. Well, I talked to John Jagalowski, which is plumbing and heating, and then we'll get that permit. So our goal is to get our electrical, but our electrician will obtain the electrical permit, and we need to kind of get the stage set for him to be able to do that. And the same with Coleman's. They have to get their permit for plumbing and heating and cooling, and we've got to kind of bring all that together. So that's a real big thing right in front of us. And then they'll start order. And then as soon as the underground is done, we put in the concrete. As soon as the concrete's done, we start our interior walls. And that's kind of the route of the interior. On the exterior, we've got metal studs going. Then there'll be dense glass, and then our dry stucco material. And then our stone is all paid for out of Indiana, and it should be shipping probably about 2 more weeks. We should have our stone order coming up, and then that's probably that'll be about 40 actual work days to put all that stone around the entire perimeter of the building. So that's all coming along, and then as soon as we're real close to getting our glass openings. I held off just a little bit because there's a lot of little trims that actually are nibbling into these openings, and the glass guys really want the final opening. They don't care if it's a little bit bigger or smaller, they just care that their stuff fits when they get here. So that'll be real soon. Liberty Glass will be getting them out, and that's it. Just kind of push on each front. We're on the interior, just working on all sorts of details, really, just insulation here and fireproofing there and that kind of thing. So, and then lastly, just there's an ongoing study with Suzanne from Miller Johnson, and we're just looking closely at some of our ideas of what we would be doing in the building and making sure none of those violate any of the nonprofit components that could put at risk the tax exempt status of the building. So there's definitely 2 distinct ideas. One is what the ACCLA can do under its permitted uses, and then you could do anything you want in the building. It's just that if you do one thing, you may find that you lose the tax exempt status of the building or a portion thereof, which we never ever want to do. So that's what Suzanne is really looking at closely. And in about 2 weeks, Wendy and Bob, will have a good Zoom call with her where she's studying right now, and she's gonna give us what I expect will be a real clear way to go forward. So she's gonna say, you guys can definitely do these things 100%, no problem. You can't do these things, you can do them, but you were gonna lose your building tax exempt status, and we couldn't afford to do that. And then I think she's gonna give us the gray middle, and in my opinion, we should conservatively lean towards the protected side of that, you know, so that'll be, she's sussing that out right now, and I think she's got an underling that is, just getting the freshest case law and all that kind of good stuff. So probably about 2 weeks, we should have a real clear direction, and if a contemplated use jeopardizes the tax exempt status of the building, we're gonna probably have to abandon that idea, so, but we'll have good facts to work on pretty darn soon.
Being said we are nonprofit, can we get our, the things that you just talked, I can't remember the word, permit, can we get our permits waived, being we are nonprofit?
They haven't been waiving them, but they've given us radical reductions, like I just ballparking, we're getting 80 to 90% off. And I think, yeah, especially, you know, Don Gilman was the #1 discount. He's given us, you know, he's charging us, because he's kind of an independent regional guy, and Don Gilman, I mean, if I were doing that building versus the ACCOA, you know, probably every bit of a 90% discount. And at the county level, I'm the same kind of thing, you know, 80%, 90% discount, just kind of covering, I think, some of their internal. So, yeah, and keep in mind, we're all paid for all of our permits. And all of our inspections and everything. The only 2 remaining, it would be electrical and then plumbing heat. So, and then I'm sure they're gonna go relatively easy, but they can call, and some of that is based on the final plans, because they've got like a fixture count and lighting count and what have you. So, yeah, no, the county's been really great, and Harry is really come along. He stops out all the time, and just kind of checks on stuff. He's got a good handle as to what's going on. And then I've been making sure we keep up on all of our special inspections, so Harry doesn't do any steel inspection, right? That's a really well qualified fella, and he, you know, I have him out at good intervals and we communicate back and forth. So in the end, we have to deliver a clean note from our steel inspector saying that everything's good. That's what everyone, Don Gilman, the county, that's what our insurance company, that's what they're gonna be buying. So those are the kind of special inspections that we get, but we've been getting them the whole way for footings and concrete. It's SME is a pretty big contract. I think we're gonna be in a good chunk of money when it's all said, but you have to do it, it's just how it is.
Okay. Well, have any questions for Andy?
I have one more,
Okay.
if it's okay. Are we gonna have, at each of the houses, is there gonna be like an outside spigot for people to wash their cars and water their flowers, that sort of thing?
Yep, every single house, the spigots are in, there's no water to just yet, but yeah, and the garages, I think when you see them, so we've got an insulated garage door, an insulated garage, drywall, nice lighting, they're beautiful, you know, like it's really, and again, when you do that, you're not gonna have, it's unlikely to freeze, it'd have to be super duper cold to freeze in your garage, and it's just, I think it's really gonna be nice, we pull right in and the deep of winter, and then we've got an interior drain, so it'll be warm enough that the slush will come off your vehicle in the morning, you can start, pretty good, so. Yeah, they're adorable, I mean, I walk through those houses and I think to myself, well over half of my life, I did not live in a house like that, you know, like, so, they're, and a lot of people, as they see in the really beautiful floor, nice trim. I got a great deal on doorknobs, so we've got like architectural grade doorknobs. And again, I've had a lot of rental properties in my day, so I'm always thinking, what breaks, right? And so if it's a one breaker, we're putting it in brownie, so you can reduce, there's always maintenance, but we're trying to design them. We're designing to have a low likely maintenance program.
Thank you.
Are we all set? Is everybody, any other questions we have for Andy? If not, we'll let Andy get back to SME. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
We'll move on, NEMSCO representatives.
No.
Okay, we have nobody here. Carolyn, you have a report or?
I have just a few things. First of all,
Hang on.
when I was in attendance at the, well, actually, I think it was after that, that Pam and I had a discussion regarding the flags, and it originally came up out of the building meeting. I did in fact, what size we get and that primary question. Andy is in contact with a flag company that has all the proper sizing for, if the building is this size, the flag should be this size type of thing. And which is much more common. I actually didn't know there was that type of company out there. And so it's kind of sitting in his hands as far as what size we're going to need and so on. So, again, just as a brief update on that. August 8th, a week from 9 days from now. I think that's, yes, August 8th. Is that 9 days from now?
No, it'll be more than
Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks, 2 days. The Forgotten Eagles will be coming through. Recall, they are a group of veterans and they are bikers. Not all of the people who are biking, who are on motorcycles are veterans, but most all of them are. Generally speaking, they're friends of those bikers. So they started in Mount Pleasant and I'll say, well, don't they come first Thursday? They come the first Thursday after the first Wednesday. Because their ride along starts on the first Wednesday. So you gotta go all the way around and get to the first Wednesday, and then it's the next Thursday. So every once in a while, it seems like it's out of sync, but it really isn't if you go to their master plan. They will be at the down flag at the county building on Thursday. They do a brief ceremony. They're raising money for veteran issues, for veteran, like sometimes they use for children's scholarships, ramps, equipment for handicapped veterans, those types of things is what that money goes to. So it's a good cause and they're a good bunch of guys and gals. So and that is a week from it's the 8th, whatever, which is a Thursday, whenever you find out on your calendar, that's the day. So in addition to that, broadband, of course, we signed the agreement with Cherry Capital Corporation at our last meeting. It's a secondary agreement with them. First was an agreement to move forward, and the one we signed was the actual agreement this past Wednesday. Fair is coming up. I hope you all plan on attending some part of it at least. Opioid committee decided to do, and the full board approved it. The opioid committee makes a recommendation and then they have a full board. Commissioners approve that recommendation. We're doing gas cards for some of the folks who have opioid or drug related conditions and diagnoses. They are unable sometimes to get a ride to their medical appointment. Either they don't have money, but in many cases, license And so they have to ask somebody else to drive them. So we are going to be doing $10 gas cards, and they're going to be monitored through Alpena Health Center. This program is in place in Alpena, has been for 2 or 3 years, seems to be working great for them. And we're told that many of our people who have drug-related conditions do have trouble getting to their appointments, medical appointments, and so this would help with that. And also, tomorrow evening at 6:30 at the library, the League of Women Voters is having a gathering and having each of the local candidates. They have been invited, I don't know that they will all be there, but, the local candidates to come and speak for a few moments, answer a few questions, that type of thing. Again, that's tomorrow evening at the main library in Harrisville, and it begins at 6:30. So. Highlights right here.
Okay. Is that it?
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll move on to Executive Director's report.
Okay.
Okay.
The first thing I have is, dealing with grants. Debbie McKay has started doing some research on grants, and she's gonna be working with Andy as discussed on some specific things she might be looking for. We hired a new part-time human resource manager. She started last week. Which already in 3 days, she's already helped Patty and I tremendously taking stuff off our plates. Last month for June, we served 2,641 meals between home delivery and contact, so we're getting up there again. I attached a letter from NEMSCA that I was so excited about. We had our in-home service audit in January after the audit last July, when I first started. There was a few things that we were still working on getting in compliance. And we got this letter last week, and it says that our agency is now in compliance with all of the Bureau standards. So, yay! So that was very exciting. I did reach out to SBA again last week. The lady that I've been working with, she did request that we receive our payoff letter and the release of collateral. She thought we would have had that by now, but she was going to request it again, so I'm keeping my eye open for that. And I'm gonna be working with Linnea this afternoon to set up our second mandatory staff meeting. We have to have 2 mandatory staff meetings a year for NEMSCA. So we're gonna get our second one set up here for the end of August, beginning of September. We got our new home delivered meal truck on the road. We just have to get our logos, and Patty has been talking with the new owner of J and JB. He gets some logos from somewhere, so she's gonna work with them, and then he can actually remove ours and put the new ones on. So, and then I thought of a couple other things here. I guess we got the new truck. We're making the black truck still a primary truck. The red full-size truck is going to be our backup truck. So now we still have that small white truck. And I'm just wondering if we have permission to try to sell that truck.
Was that truck purchased with NEMSCA grant of money because we have to offer it to other centers, right, or not?
I don't know.
I can check that out.
Find out
Yeah.
if,
How it was purchased.
if we're not required, if we're not required to put, back to other agencies, and
Yeah.
there's no sense of keeping it here, having it on the insurance plan and in our parking lot, so we're not gonna be using that truck anytime soon, as of probably ever, so.
Right. And then Carolyn had brought up the fair, and ACCOA is working the gate on Tuesday and Saturday.
Tuesday and Saturday?
Tuesday and Saturday. I have I can't remember the exact times, I have it downstairs, but yeah. Tuesday evening and then Saturday afternoon, I believe. That's all I have.
Do we need a motion to give her permission?
Yeah.
To sell a white truck?
Yep.
I'll make a motion for Wendy to do what we have to do to sell the white truck.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for Wendy, the executive director, to put our white truck up for sale after checking with NEMSTA. Seconded by Mike. So, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I have a couple of questions, Wendy. Actually. There we go. What will the hours be for our human resources individual? What days of the week will she be working?
Right now, she's gonna be working Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. She's just part-time right now.
Okay, and hours during the day?
Oh, she'll be here probably like 8 to 5.
Okay. And I know that this one is for Phil. When I first joined the board, there was a grievance committee with the, onset of the Human Resources Department. Will this now be abolished as a formal committee for the board?
I would think it's up to the board, but I would think that once, something would happen where we would need the human resource involved, then if it can't be handled, she would turn it over to our grievance committee.
Okay.
I think that's what she would do. She's dealt with grievances and stuff before, so I think she would definitely be working with the board if it was something above and beyond that she could
Right.
take care of herself.
Yep.
Or her and I could take care of,
Which hopefully,
but hopefully we don't have to worry about.
knock on wood, we don't
Right.
never have that issue, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay, that's all you have?
That's all I know.
All right. So we'll move on to treasurer's report. Oh, I'm sorry. Ron, you have a question?
Names for
Do I want some names?
you want?
Volunteers to.
Oh, yeah, we'll need volunteers.
Saturday.
Okay. And I'll let you know the times too. I can't remember if it was 2 to 5 or, I'm not sure. Then you have to write it down.
I did it one year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for the fair gate?
Yeah,
Okay. And now we can move to treasurer's report. Do you have anything, Ron?
That's it.
Treasurer's report, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got a whole picture. Here, okay, checking yours on pay, that's 6/30. 2024. $134,422.30. Daylight. Account. $1,079,447.24. So total. $1,213,269.54. New building project as of 6/30/24. Checking at the credit union. $1,293,189.84. Money market, $1,977.16. Daylight or $103.43. The subtotal $1,295,543. New building. Received $6,250,000. Total spent as of 7/12/24. $926.96. Plus final balance of one. So. 24.
So we have we need a motion to accept the treasurer's report subject to audit.
I would make that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Turk, seconded by Stepanowski, to accept the treasurer's report subject to audit. Colin, roll call please.
Stepanowski.
Here.
Turek, yes.
I'm sorry, yes.
Schlicker.
Yes.
Potter.
Yes.
McKinnon.
Yes.
Lynch. Yes.
Okay. Secretary's report.
Secretary report, all I have is the executive committee action, that I'll read it. And Phil's gonna fill you in on the rest of the, the property sale. But this was executive committee action on July 13th. That says, therefore, the ACCOA executive committee by unanimous vote authorizes President Phil Potter to complete and sign all paperwork necessary to complete the sale of the Lincoln Senior Center building and property to Brad Poole at the agreed upon sale price of $150,000. So this, all the board members got spoken to and making sure that they were amenable to accepting Brad Poole's offer. This committee action needs to be ratified by the entire board at the next board meeting, which is right now.
So we need a motion.
So I would make that motion that we ratify this executive committee action of July 13th.
A second.
Motion by Turek, seconded by Brown Lynch to authorize Phil Potter to sign any paperwork necessary to complete the sale of the Lincoln Senior Center between the Lincoln Senior Center and Brad Cole on the sale price of $150,000. All in favor? Does that should be roll call, I believe, because we're dealing with funds.
It never hurts. Stepanowski.
Yes.
Turek, yes. Schlicker,
Yes.
Potter,
Yes,
McKinnon,
Yes.
Lynch. Yes.
motion carried.
And that's all I have.
All right. Committee report. Do you have anything? I don't believe any of the committees have met. We have to get on that.
I have a question on it though. Who puts the thing in the paper for our board, to join the board? And does it go in the local paper itself or just on our website?
Megan has put it on our regular website and our social media accounts for since our last board meeting. And then I think starting this week, she's going to run it in the Alcona Review for 4 or 5 weeks, requesting people to put in their applications to be on the board.
So Megan's gonna take care of that, then we, as a committee, we don't have to worry about that.
No,
Nominating.
and mainly our committee will be after we get a full slate of candidates that we'll take we will make up a candidate list to make sure it's distributed to the in-home services people and run the election. But I think we're good until that time.
Which is September, if I'm not mistaken, September 1st.
The election
Have
will-
a certain thing done.
Yeah, you have to, anybody who's interested in being on the board has to have their nomination in, I believe, or their letter in by August 23rd. I believe it is. And then we have our August meeting the next week and we'll discuss who's put their name in and then the specifics of running the election. And the election will take place from, I think, September 1st through our board meeting, September, whatever that is. So it'll be, the same as last time. People can come in and vote anytime during that month. But ballots will be sent out to all the in-home service people.
Okay. Unfinished business, sale of the Lincoln Senior Center. So we did have a proposal from, submitted to us from Brad Cole for $150,000. We have signed the paperwork. We held off on the final signing until we made sure that we received the second half of our $12.5 million grant, because we didn't want to sell it and then be out in the cold. And then we'd have to turn the money back and we'd have to go through all the process. So we decided just to hang on until we got that 6.25, the second half of our 12.5 million. And good news is we did receive those funds. So now I can move forward. John has already contacted the title company and he's also let Brad know that we have received it. So we'll be moving forward on that. Brad also, we don't have to be out till December 31st. If anything comes up after that, we'll discuss, we'll have it in writing that either we rent it from him or hopefully, knock on wood, nothing transpires like that. But we'll work with that when we get to that. So yes, the senior center has been sold, upon final signing, which is in the title company's hands right now, and John.
And John did give us quite a break on his commission.
Correct.
So basically consider that a donation from him to the ACCOA that we all appreciate.
Yeah, he said the commission was 7,500. He's gonna accept 5,250, giving us back, $2,250 as a donation from, North 45 real estate. So that was a good time. It'll be about, I'm not gonna say the figure exactly because I don't have it in front of me until after the title and everything's signed, then I'll report at the next meeting. But it'll be somewhere around $143,339, somewhere in there. So plus we might have a little more than that. So like I said, I'm not sure of the exact number, but it'll be somewhere in that $143,000. So on the board's half of that, would we have to look, do we have a sinking fund balance for any repairs that need to be done? Can we start a sinking fund balance?
No,
No, okay.
no, we never set up those specific, categories of anything like that.
So it'll be something we can look at down the road possibly to make sure that we follow the 501c3 status. Because if we have to repair anything, we don't want to be caught with our feet in the mud type thing. I could use the other statement, which
Yeah.
everybody knows, but I'm gonna use the feet in the mud. Okay, so that's that. New business?
Bill,
Yes,
is the generator going with the building?
has to. The generator here has to be sold with, or has to be taken to our new facility because it was bought with grant from NIMSA. So we have to take that to the new center. Or I believe we have to, correct me if I'm wrong, we have to offer it to any other centers because it was bought with NIMSA grant money. Yeah, that'll move over there.
That's gonna cost quite a bit to move that too, won't it?
No, you just shut it down, unhook it, and move it. Bring a high-low under it, and move it.
Oh,
And whatever it costs, it's gonna be less than it would cost to buy a brand new one over
Right,
there, that's for
correct.
sure.
And what was that? That was,
$30-some.
right. Yeah, that was a $30,000+ generator. So we do, we definitely want to take that.
well, we need it anyway, right?
Yes,
There.
yeah, we definitely will use it over at the new center for power outages or anything, yeah.
I believe there's gonna be several generators over there, several standby generators. To run everything, I mean,
Right,
I think
right.
this is only gonna be one of several, I can't remember if he said there's gonna be 2 or 3. I mean, every bungalow is gonna have their own generator, but I believe the whole Sunrise Center is gonna have at least 2 generators.
I believe you're right. Yeah. So yeah, that has to go with us. Any other questions on old business? If not, we're gonna move over to new business. We have any new business to deal with? Okay. Public comment. Lisa, you have anything?
I have nothing.
Okay,
Bill, can you guys hear me? This is Kim.
yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, I just wanted to mention that you might want to include in the prior motion to given Phil the authority that it include not only dealing with Brad, but the realtor, title company, whoever's involved in the closing, you know, the transaction, and just expand that a little bit so it doesn't look like as far as the notes go that you're accepting an offer direct from Brad, that you also are the one signing all the papers for the real estate company and closing documents and things like that.
Thank you, and I think we might have already done some of that, but I don't think it hurts to do it again, to make another motion. I will make a motion to give President Phil Potter the authority to execute any and all closing documents concerned with the sale of the Lincoln Senior Center building.
That sounds good.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Terry, seconded by Stepanowski to give Phil Potter, the president, authority to sign any documents dealing with the closing of the property with the title company of Lincoln Senior Center. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I would suggest that the minutes read that the chairman abstained.
What was that? I didn't.
My recommendation was that the chairman, that the vote indicates that the chairman abstained from voting.
Is that,
I don't have any problem with that. I mean, if you abstained, I will put that in.
I'll abstain.
It should be.
It precludes a conflict of interest.
Right, I'll abstain my vote. I will. I have no problem. Okay, motion still carried. Okay. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Tim.
Director's additional comments and concerns. Do we have any comments and concerns that we need to address?
I have one comment that I think everybody here on the board knows, but I'll put it on for the for anybody watching the video, I appreciate what the building committee and Andy have been doing to try to make sure that we're in compliance with our nonprofit status restrictions. In particular, the grant specified that it had to be a community hub, had to have community features, had to have housing features. Well, our Form 9090 with form that's filled with the IRS, our principal activity is care and housing for the aged. So I believe it's pretty much sure that having senior bungalows we're going to be compliant. However, the challenge is going to be that if you're making a community center that's providing services for the community and asking them to pay, does that violate our tax exempt status? So I appreciate what the board is doing, because it has come up with our local tax authorities already, that we need to make sure that we're in compliance. So I appreciate what Andy and the lawyer Suzanne Miller, as well as this committee has been doing, because that's an important thing that people brought up a long time ago that we're finding out is exactly the case. That there are issues that we cannot get income from sources that are outside of our scope of business. So it is an issue that, like I said, people brought up years ago, and that it is exactly the case that I think you all can attest to, that in dealing with the local tax authorities, it has come up already.
I went to Guston Township on the taxes for the houses that they submitted to us, and we missed the March meeting to object to them, contest them. So the one that I went to Thursday, I believe it was just for clerical. If they had something wrong on the printing of the addresses or anything. So after talking to Susan Miller and that, that's when we decided, what, we have to look into this to make sure. So we contacted her and she's in the process of looking with the state. She will come back with a recommendation of what we're allowed to do, can't do under our current 501c status. So that's a good thing. So
How would we have known at the March meeting when we just got it?
I brought that up to them and they said, this is for clerical. I said, no, we got nothing from the village. We got nothing that stated we had village taxes. We were under the assumption that, I guess I should have looked a little bit closer and said, wait a minute, is a village gonna charge it? Or but when we got nothing in time for the March meeting, I don't know. So we are gonna, Susan Miller did say that if we have proper paperwork, we can go to Lansing and go to the tax tribunal for the state, and we may still get them waived. But we don't want to have a penalty on not paying them before the September deadline. So we can pay it, then go to the state, see if we can get them reimbursed. So we'll wait for the recommendation from Susan Miller on the tax thing for the state. So we'll make sure we get all the paperwork submitted properly to her. So we already have submitted some of the paperwork, the articles of incorporation on our bylaws that she required, and the tax statements, and the state application for tax exempt. So we're moving along on that. So and like Bob said, we have to find out what we can do and what we cannot do. That's the good thing.
I have a question, Phil.
Yeah,
On our new building thing, it says we're on track for 9/30/24 for the completion of the senior bungalows. Does that mean we can rent them out? This is 9 is September, so can we start renting them out in October? And if we do, they're gonna be driving in and out. Is that gonna?
no, we cannot let them move in prior to any construction completion. We don't want, yes, we don't want them driving past the high-low that's backing off. We don't want them
Okay.
in and out. The workers are there. Now, once everything is completed and Andy feels that it's safe to allow the people to start with, the housing,
Okay.
then we'll move forward on that. We can select
Who it might be.
who and everything, but they cannot occupy anything back there until we get the clearance for insurance purposes. We don't want people driving back and forth right now.
Now, who's gonna determine? You can rent, but you
The
can't.
real estate agent that we
Oh, they're
hired,
doing it, okay.
yes, yeah, they will recommend to the committee on who, they'll do all the interviews, they'll do all the handling of the names.
Background checks.
Yep, in that way, the background checks will all be done by them. And that way it takes it out of the board's hands where down the road, somebody can't say, well, you rented to them because
Yeah,
it's
it's your friend.
your friend. It's put it in the hands of an independent agent.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
just covering our board members, so. Okay, if there's no other additional comments or concerns, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
You make motion now? To adjourn?
said you make the motion. I second it.
You
Motion. Motion by Pam, seconded by Ron to adjourn the meeting, the July meeting. Our next regular meeting will be August 27th. Meeting adjourned.